Hey, let's talk a little bit about feathering, feather sticks. We all know feathering comes in handy when you're making a fire. You can get more surface area on the wood, or you can get down into the drier center part if the outside of the wood is dry, or sorry, if the outside of the wood is wet, you get to maybe the drier part on the inside. It all helps you with making a feather stick. One thing you want to try to remember is the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy. You might watch on the internet or YouTube or Instagram people making feather sticks, and there's these just beautiful, like a bouquet of flowers. It looks like it's almost too beautiful to put in a fire. That's lots and lots and hours of practice. I don't really care about that much. I want something more functional. So what you really want, you want to get to a corner on the wood, and you don't want to try and do it on a flat part. That doesn't really work very well. Of course, you want to think about the right angle. Too much, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You got to find it. You'll see some people like to kind of anchor the wood and push the knife. Some people will anchor the knife and pull the wood. Really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which way you're going with this, honestly. Just so long as you're being very careful, keeping yourself clear of the blade, and using good common sense. Right now, I'm using a fixed blade sheath knife, Southern Grind, to work these feathers. A lot of times you'll do it and they fall off. People get worried, oh no, they're falling off. It doesn't really matter, because you can just put them into a nice little pile and you've got your pile of wood shavings. They don't all have to stay on there. So, but, you know, something to think about too when you're making these feather sticks. You can use your sheath knife, your fixed blade, but there's also, maybe you don't have a fixed blade knife, maybe you have a pocket knife with you, like this Opinel number 8. You can use that. It's going to be a little different, right? You might have a slightly different angle, of course a little different grip. You've got the little finger choil here where you can kind of choke up, and on the spine for your thumb. You don't really have that here, so you're going to have a little bit of a different grip. You're going to have to be a little more careful. You know, if you get too much of a bite in there, see how the blade just kind of stops moving? Just stop. Put the knife down to break the piece off. Find a different part of the wood to work on. You know, remember, this doesn't have to be perfection by any means. That would be with a little folder. You could do it with a Swiss Army knife. You can do a Swiss Army knife. You can make your feathers. You could use a hatchet. You can actually feather with a hatchet. You can do it with anything that has a blade, and if you can get a nice little corner on that wood, you can get little feathers. Of course, they're going to be much bigger with a hatchet. You could even do it with an X-acto. Basically anything with a blade and a corner on that wood, you can get it. And remember, don't worry if the little pieces fall off. Little pieces fall off, that's okay. You just set the blade down and you can put things in a little pile and you'll have enough. You're going to be doing this for a long time because you need a lot of these little pieces of wood. Now, something I want to show you here, if you're using, like, let's say a Leatherman. You got this Leatherman rebar and this Leatherman sidekick. Notice the difference in where the blade is. That's going to affect your grip. When you're holding this here, you can choke up and get a little closer to that blade. But here, you can't really, it does have a little choil, but man, that's kind of dicey getting your finger in there. You're getting right up on there. So there's actually gonna, you could argue that one of these might be better than the other for making your feather sticks. Your mileage may vary, and always try to get some dirt time, figure out what works best for you, and be careful.